Hi, I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my August wrap up. And I read 9 books in August. 9 books include 2 physical books, only 2 this month because I was focusing on ARCs for most of the month. So I read 4 ebooks and I also fit in 3 audiobooks. So I'm going to tell you about them. The first book I finished this month was Skull Moss by S.E. Martins. And this is horror poetry, and it is so beautiful. This is my new favorite book of poetry. This is self-published, and I heard about this book on a video that Pax Panic did about horror poetry to check out, and I'm glad I did. I will read you an example. The demons of your better nature. All your sullenness you drop suddenly in a box, left on my stoop with a bow, but what am I to do with the cavernous hollows of your eyes, or the grim little twist of your lips? Such darkling flashes in your gaze, hot, cold, bright, bold darts there, envy, twist, poison, worms there. When I think of the shower of your bright hair, wrapped in the heavy second measured out, eating the ticking of the clock like pills, while I wait to see, does this end with me in a body bag? Or maybe I am left, rapping my knuckles on this door ceaselessly, aware of every hair on my head, my tongue an anvil. Please just answer me. And that was The Demons of Your Better Nature by S.E. Martins. I love this cover. It's beautiful. Let me see if it says who did the cover. Tia Jagadik. And I read this, other than just wanting to read horror poetry. I read this for the Buzzword Reading Challenge 2023, hosted by Books and Lala, because the prompt was to read a book with a body part name in the title. Skull Moss. The next book I finished was Suffer the Darkness by Yolanda Sves... I have trouble saying this. Yolanda Svetsos. And this was the Reaper Book Club pick for August, hosted by Katrina Brown. And this was a very short book. It's a possession story, but it is not like any other possession story I've read. It was surprising. A lot going on. It starts with this young girl who is missing and then suddenly shows up after a long time. She's found, but she's not acting like herself. She's not seeming the same. And things go from there. I loved Suffer the Darkness. Another 5-star read, so all 5-star reads so far. Third book I finished in August was Everything the Darkness Eats by Eric LaRocca. I was super excited for this. I pre-ordered this book. This came out just recently from Clash Books, and this was the August pick for the Dark Hearts Book Club, hosted by Amy Noel Reads. And I love how this book looks inside. It is very stylish. Yes, it is a pretty book. And I was in love with the writing in the first 2 parts of this book. I think there's 4 parts. Let me see. 5 parts. The first 2 parts, I was loving this story. It has a widower with a grim secret. It involves a string of disappearances, has black or dark magic, also has a gay couple that are not being treated well in their neighborhood they've moved into. One of the characters in that couple is a police officer in this town who is investigating the string of disappearances. And then after the first 2 parts, it gets very hard to read. It gets very dark, and trigger warnings, look them up. So it's hard to read, but I keep hearing that the 2 stories with the couple and the widower that has a dark secret and is fallen in with dark magic type thing, that they don't connect, or they don't connect well. I thought there was a connection all the way through with the man in the couple being a police officer. He mentions the case and that the manpower of the police force is working on that case. I do think that the connection should have been stronger, probably throughout. Have a few scenes actually showing some kind of work on the case would be, just like 1 or 2 scenes of him investigating the case, and the connection would have been there. So it was loose connection. And then the 2 stories do come together at the very end, but if you're only considering that, it's not like a very strong connection between them, I guess. Anyway, I liked this book. It was not fun to read at the end, but I did really like the writing. And I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. Next, I read Season of Swords by Andrzej Sapkowski, which is the final book in the Witcher series. I had this audiobook on hold through my Libby app, and I got it in August, so I decided to finish up a series. And I would not say that the Witcher series is a favorite, but I am glad that I read it, and it has some unforgettable characters, and that is the major plus for the series. The plot, it's not my favorite. It's just not its strength. We'll just say that. Blade of Dream by Daniel Abraham, on the other hand, is a great fantasy book that I loved. I love this series, the Kithamar series. This was book 2, and it focused on kind of a forbidden romance in this one that opens up into a much more far-reaching plot at the end. And I have a full review of this one. If you would like to see it, I'll have it linked down below. Next, the audiobook for Cujo by Stephen King for the Stephen King read-along, hosted by Fiber Artsy. And this was also a Paperbacks from Hell and Animal Attack book for Garb August, hosted by Criminali, and I had big plans for Garb August, but I had to focus on ARC, so Cujo is the only book I finished. I did get to the middle of a couple more, but they'll have to be finished at a later date when I have a little more time. But Cujo is, you probably know, about a dog that gets rabies and then attacks some people. I really like this book. It's not a favorite, but it's on the higher side of my Stephen King books. I gave it 4 stars. Next, Writing the Nightmare by Lisa Tuttle. It's a short story collection that features stories that were previously published in other places throughout her career, so the 80s through 2017 or so, with one of the stories being expanded, made longer, just in 2023. I liked half the books, and I really liked half the stories. So I ended up with a 3.5 star rating. And if you want to hear more, I have a full review. I'll have it linked down below. And if you want to hear about individual stories, I do have a written review that actually talks about each story. And I will have that linked down below as well if you're curious about what the stories are like. As far as details, it's just a synopsis, like that is only one sentence, so it's as non-spoiler as I could make it. Oh wait, and Writing the Nightmare, these stories were originally published earlier, most in the range of Paperbacks from Hell, so maybe I can count that for Garb August too. Ooh, maybe I will. That sounds like a good idea. Yay, 2 books for Garb August. 2 more books that I read in August. I listened to the audiobook for The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. I listened to this for the Spooky Book Club pick by hosted by Nightmare Maven. And The Weight of Blood is a retelling of Carrie by Stephen King, which is one of the Stephen Kings that I really like. And this one, it was a really good retelling because it was very recognizable as a Carrie story, without being the same. A lot of things were changed, and this one focuses on racism. It has a lot of racism, both really severe racist bullying in the case of our main character, who was pretending to be white because of her father, and then is found out to be half black. So the bullying she goes through is very severe. And other characters go through a lot of microaggressions, so it has that as well. But it was a very Carrie-esque story as well. And the last book for August is Bridge by Lauren Bukes. This was a thriller with speculative fiction elements having to do with going between alternate realities, being able to, for a short time, go from yourself in your world to yourself in a different life and seeing lots of different lives. And there's a mystery about Bridge, who's the main character, mother, that goes throughout. I really liked the characters and the concept of dream worms, which are basically drugs that help you to go to another reality for a while. It was well written, and I thought it felt a little bit long, especially in the middle, but it was a really good book. I have a full review of that one as well. So I had four 5-star books: Skull Moss, Suffer the Darkness, Blade of Dream, and The Weight of Blood. I had Cujo was 4 stars, and then I had 4 3.5-star books. And those are all 9 books that I read in August. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. And I'll be back very soon with another book-related video. Thanks. Bye.